Today I want to talk about what you can do when your community care provider sends you a bill for something the VA should have paid for. Now, I don't know how often this happens, but it does happen. And if it happens to you, you have to start working on it immediately and work hard until it's fixed. And we had a saying in the Army that bad news doesn't get better with age. And that saying applies here too. Your options to fix this problem are only going to get fewer and worse as time goes on. So don't ignore it. Now, before I get into the specific steps that I think you should follow, I need to say something up front, which is that the VA doesn't actually directly pay community care medical providers. Instead, the VA has contracted with two, essentially, insurance companies to handle that. Now, those two companies are Optum and TriWest, and each has a distinct geographic territory. And I'll put a link below to a map where you can see, which one handles claims in the area where you live. So now that all that initial information is out of the way, what are your steps to deal with this? First, as soon as you get a bill from the provider, call them right away. Well, calm down to the point where you can talk to them in a calm manner and then call them right away. Ask them what's going on, and specifically ask what they did to try to get the VA to pay. Who did they talk to? Was it a call or an email? What form did they submit? So on and so forth. And ask if you can see copies of any documents that they sent to the VA or any emails that they sent to the VA, things like that. And there's going to be some hesitation there, so tell them that you will need that information when you start to complain to the VA. And I think you will, or you're going to want to have it at the very least. Now, I don't know if your provider is actually going to give you any of that, but you still should ask. And also ask them to give you some time to sort this out with the VA before they expect you to pay. Second, figure out whether TriWest or Optum handles these payments where you live. Now, both of those companies have a grievance form you can use in a situation like this. Fill that out and send it in, and I'll put links to the forms for both companies below. All you really need to say to them on this form is that you have this authorization from the VA, send them a copy of it with the form, that the provider is billing you anyway, and this is wrong, please help me fix it. Other things that you can do, I would go ahead and ask for a copy of the contract between the VA and TriWest, or Optum, whichever, and also ask for a copy between TriWest or Optum and the provider themselves, because there might be something in that contract that spells out specifically what a provider is supposed to do if the VA doesn't pay, or how they're supposed to bill the VA. Now, I don't know if they're going to send you those documents, just like your provider may not either, but you should still ask. Now, you should call them too, but definitely focus on getting that form in first. The third thing is to call the VA community care team, let them know what's going on, and ask them to get involved and help you. And tell them what you've learned along the way. Tell them who you've called and what they've told you they're doing to fix it. So those are the three main steps. Now, the specific reason why the VA didn't pay is going to drive how your situation ultimately resolves. Now, did they not pay because the provider didn't fill out the forms correctly? Was it because you didn't get an authorization ahead of time like you should have? Was it because the provider went beyond what was in the authorization? Was it because the VA is denying care they should have covered? Who knows? You need to stay on everyone until you figure it out. And I would be calling each of those three places I mentioned to get an update from them, and also give them an update as well, at least once a week, maybe twice a week. I think every day is a little much, especially at the start. You can ramp up as things go on. And again, always be polite with everyone you talk to. Remember, your goal is not to vent your frustration. Your goal is to solve a problem. It's going to be a lot harder to solve the problem if you explode on everyone who could actually help you. So eventually, if this doesn't get resolved and you don't pay, the provider will turn it over to a collections agency. That's just how it happens. Now, the collections agency is going to start harassing you about it, and eventually they'll sue you and take you to court and try to get a judgment. Take those things very seriously. I typically tell people not to trust anything from a collections agency unless you see it in writing. And I stand by that. And when anyone is starting to sue you, you should find a lawyer to help you out. A collections lawsuit will occur in a state court, so you'll need a lawyer licensed in your state to handle that. If you ignore a lawsuit, you will get a default judgment against you, and at that point, your options to fix the problem are going to be extremely limited and very expensive. So I don't mean to scare you. The main point is, if this happens to you, work it like a job until it's done. I hope that was helpful. I'll probably stop talking about community care, at least for a little while. If you'd like me to help you with your VA disability claim, you can reach out to me through the links below. I'm Al Walsh, a veteran who likes to help other veterans. Thanks for watching.